The zipper's rasp cut through the hum of the air conditioner. Bradley's leather briefcase gleamed under the kitchen light, sharp, expensive, out of place next to my half-finished mug of coffee. He barely looked up from his laptop. "You're being ridiculous, Lillian. It's just another business trip." The sound landed harder than it should have. 8 years of marriage condensed into one line of dismissal. I forced a smile. "My name is Lillian Morrison. I'm 35, living in Phoenix, Arizona, and according to everyone we know, I have a perfect life. A husband with a corner office, a house with desert views, 2 luxury cars, and a marriage built on trust. At least that's what I thought." Lately, the trust had started to rattle. He guarded his phone like a state secret, laughed too loud at late-night texts, and flinched whenever I mentioned joining him on his work trips. Now he was packing again. 3 days in Palm Springs for a pharmaceutical conference, or so he said. His movements were efficient, rehearsed, suits folded precisely, cologne capped tight. The gold watch I'd given him gleaming like proof of loyalty that no longer existed. Something in me twitched. "Which hotel did you say this one's at?" I asked, pretending to straighten a stack of bills. "The same as always," he said, eyes still on the screen. "The Desert Palms." His tone had that polished confidence he used in client calls, every word practiced. He zipped the case with more force than necessary. "Late Friday night, don't wait up." The latch snapped shut. The sound stayed in my ears. After he left for the airport, silence pressed against the walls of our Scottsdale house. I tried to work on a logo project, but my cursor blinked like a heartbeat I couldn't calm. Something was wrong, and for once, I couldn't design my way out of it. So I opened my laptop and typed Desert Palms Resort. The website glowed with turquoise pools and manicured gardens. It looked legitimate, too legitimate. Still, the unease grew, coiling tight in my ribs. He'd been so quick to forbid me from coming, so careful about his appearance. 3 days, 3 suits, 1 lie too many. By morning, I was standing before my closet, slipping into a sundress that caught the Arizona light. My hands trembled as I packed an overnight bag. It shouldn't feel like rebellion to surprise your own husband. The drive to Palm Springs took 3 hours of desert silence. Wind buffeted the car, heat shimmered off asphalt. I rehearsed what I'd say when I found him, something light, forgiving, playful. But the closer I got, the heavier the air became. The resort rose from the sand like a mirage of glass and palm fronds. At the front desk, the clerk smiled brightly until I said his name. "Bradley Morrison for the Nexora conference." She frowned. "I'm sorry, ma'am. There are no pharmaceutical conferences this weekend." Something inside me tilted. Water dripped from a nearby fountain, rhythmic and cold. Water stopped. Laughter didn't. Door latch clicked. The air in the hallway smelled like carpet cleaner and perfume. Too clean, too forced. My hand shook as I slid the keycard into the slot. The light blinked green. Inside, the room was chaos. Bradley's shirts half-folded, shoes kicked aside, the sharp scent of cologne tangled with something sweeter. Floral, expensive, not mine. On the dresser sat 3 glasses, lipstick rings glowing in the lamplight. A crumpled receipt peeked from the nightstand. 3 dinners, 3 bottles, strawberries. I held it between trembling fingers. 3. Water hissed from the bathroom, followed by laughter. 2 female voices, light, practiced, comfortable. I froze near the closet. Then his voice, smooth, careless. "Same time next month?" "15th through 17th, one woman replied, accent faint, amused. "You really love your business trips." He chuckled. Money rustled. "Corporate card covers everything." The phrase sliced through me. Corporate card. I pressed my palm against my mouth, willing myself silent. They talked like this wasn't the first time. It wasn't even the 5th. It was a schedule, a business model. My marriage reduced to billing codes. When they left, I moved quickly. Took photos, the rumpled bed, the glasses, the timestamp glowing 8:47 p.m. The evidence felt heavy, metallic in my hand. Stand still, breathe. I left before he could return, the hallway echoing under my shoes. Back home, the air conditioning hummed like static over panic. I opened our shared filing cabinet, a place I rarely touched. Papers lined in perfect rows, expense reports, client invoices, corporate statements. The pattern emerged fast. Monthly charges at luxury hotels, dinners for 4, 5, client entertainment, names like Executive Wellness Solutions and Sunshine Hospitality. Consultants repeated across 3 years. I totaled them in my head, $85,000. Numbers don't lie. A drop of blood from a paper cut dotted one form. The red stain looked almost deliberate. I logged into his computer, no password. His arrogance made the work easy. Emails scrolled past, arrangements with escort agencies, coded references, receipts disguised as consulting fees. And there, messages from someone named Jasmine. Don't worry, we can provide invoices that pass any audit. I exhaled slowly. The fraud wasn't a secret affair. It was an ecosystem. That night, he came home humming, the same casual rhythm he used after every conference. "How was your weekend?" he asked. "Productive," I said first, then corrected softly. "For both of us." He didn't notice. He never did. He poured himself a drink, ice clinking against glass, and launched into stories about clients. I nodded, memorizing his words for later evidence. When he kissed my forehead, it felt like a closing statement. Hours later, I sat at my desk surrounded by papers, the hum of the refrigerator counting the seconds. Something inside me shifted. Fear calcified into focus. He mistook quiet for dumb. Fatal misread. The computer's fan whirred like distant machinery, pushing warm air into the silence. Light from the monitor painted the walls a pale blue, the color of sleepless nights. Catherine Brennan sat across from me at her office table, glasses low on her nose, legal pad already filling with notes. She was sharp in a way that comforted me, edges honed for battle. "This isn't just adultery," she said. "It's felony-level fraud." Her words steadied me. Labels made things real. We built the first outline of war. Step 1, document everything. Step 2, report before discovery. Step 3, trap him legally, completely. "Timing will be everything," Catherine warned. "He must never suspect what's coming." I nodded, the hum of her desk clock syncing with my heartbeat. David Cross came next, a private investigator with a voice like gravel and a mind that never blinked. His report unfolded across the table. Printouts, maps, transaction trails. "Your husband's not sloppy," David said. "He's confident. That's better. Confidence leaves footprints." He pointed at columns of numbers, fake travel claims, meals for clients who didn't exist, hotel stays that matched escort appointments. The total passed 100,000. He'd been running this racket for 3 years, refining it like an art form. "He's also feeding data to competitors," David added, "selling confidential files. It's espionage, not just fraud." The air felt colder. My hands stayed still on the table. By the time I left Catherine's office, I had a plan and a deadline. Bradley's next conference was scheduled for Las Vegas, 2 nights only. In truth, a meeting with Veronica, the woman behind his shadow business. Catherine's voice echoed in my head. "You'll have 48 hours. 48 hours to end a double life." At home, I watched him pack again, cufflinks glinting, cologne sharp enough to sting. He smiled like he'd won something. "Vegas again?" I asked. "Regional meeting," he said without looking up. "Back Wednesday evening." His words fell like timestamps on an arrest warrant he didn't know existed. When the front door closed, I didn't breathe until I heard the car pull away. Then everything accelerated. Catherine was already filing motions. David was on his way to Nexora's security division. The phone buzzed, Catherine's text. "Corporate meeting confirmed, 9:00 a.m., delivery." I opened my laptop, uploading every photo, every receipt, every fraudulent invoice into a shared folder labeled Truth. The folder blinked once, then settled. Stand still. Count. 3 years of deceit reduced to digital proof. By evening, my kitchen table looked like a command center, court documents stacked by sequence, a printed email chain marked Jasmine, David's map with arrows pointing from Phoenix to Vegas, Vegas to nowhere. Catherine called at 4 p.m. Her voice carried the sound of strategy turning into action. All filings accepted, warrants in process. Are you ready? I looked at the evidence spread before me, every lie cataloged, every number sharpened into a blade. I've never been more ready. The fridge hummed behind me, low and steady. A car door slammed outside, distant, ordinary. Tomorrow, nothing would be ordinary again. Warrants signed, engines started, house next. The morning broke with sirens in the distance, low, steady, deliberate. Light from the desert sun slid across my living room floor like a blade. By 9:00 a.m., the house filled with the hum of radios and the snap of gloves. Federal agents moved through Bradley's office, their navy jackets whispering evidence, evidence, evidence. Agent Sarah Chen nodded to me once. "Mrs. Morrison, thank you for your cooperation." Her voice was measured, precise, the tone of someone who'd already built a cage. Boxes sealed, computers tagged, flash drives zipped into clear bags. Each click sounded like punctuation on the story I'd rewritten. Stand still. Watch. David Cross arrived 10 minutes later, dust from the driveway clinging to his shoes. He set a folder on the counter. "Vegas confirmed," he said. He met Veronica, sold another batch of client data. Payment $50,000 cash. $50,000. The number tasted metallic. "Everything's recorded," David added. Photos, wire transfer, voice. I nodded, unable to speak. Words would have diluted the satisfaction. Catherine came at noon carrying the divorce papers, crisp and heavy. "File them today," she said, "while they freeze his accounts. He can't touch a cent." We sat at my dining table, sunlight cutting lines across the paperwork. Her pen moved fast, each signature a quiet detonation. "He was scheduled for promotion next week," she said without looking up. "Senior Regional Director, more access, more theft." The irony pressed a bitter smile to my lips. Stand still. Breathe. By mid-afternoon, my phone vibrated. Patricia Valdez, Nexora Security. "Mrs. Morrison," she said, "your evidence triggered a full internal review. We've suspended his credentials and federal warrants are active." Outside, black SUVs idled under the saguaros. Their engines rumbled like restrained thunder. At 4 p.m., the phone rang again. His name flashed on the screen. Bradley. I answered, silence first, then panic. "Lillian, something's wrong. My cards are declined, my email's locked. What's happening?" I let the quiet stretch. Then, evenly, "That's probably because Nexora has suspended your accounts pending investigation." "What are you talking about?" "The $85,000 you stole, the escorts you billed as consulting, the data you sold for $300,000. Should I continue?" His breathing quickened. "You don't understand how business works." "I understand enough to know you're a criminal," I said, "and that federal agents are in our house right now." There was a sound, metal hitting tile, maybe his phone dropping. "Lillian, please," he begged, voice cracking. "Come to Vegas. We can fix this." I already worked it out. I ended the call, blocked the number. Silence reclaimed the room. The hum of the fridge, the soft tick of the kitchen clock, the distant sound of a car door closing outside. Normal life rearranging itself without him. Agent Chen stepped from the office doorway. "We'll contact you once he's in custody." Her words floated in the dry air like final notes of a hymn. That night, I slept with the window open for the first time in years. The desert wind smelled clean, like paper, like freedom. Court set, chains clink, truth lands hard. The hum of the refrigerator filled the kitchen, steady as a heartbeat. Morning light slanted across the counter, catching on the edge of a clean glass. For the first time in years, the silence didn't hurt. Bradley's things were gone. His suits, his cufflinks, even the smell of his cologne had faded into dust. What remained was air, mine to breathe. 2 months after his arrest, I walked into the courthouse again. The marble echoed beneath my shoes. The place smelled of paper and coffee and judgment. He stood there in shackles, orange fabric loose around his shoulders. The man who once corrected my invoices now waited for a judge to define his life. Judge Whitman read the verdict like a list of debts: fraud, embezzlement, industrial espionage. 15 to 25 years. Every word sounded clean, final. Stand still, absorb it. When he turned to look at me, I saw confusion, not remorse. As if I'd rewritten a script he thought he owned. After the hearing, Catherine met me outside, sunglasses reflecting the courthouse steps. "You're free," she said simply. I nodded. Freedom felt strange, light, almost fragile. That night, I opened every window in the house. The desert air rushed in, dry and electric, smelling faintly of rain on stone. The papers on my desk fluttered like wings. Days passed. Calls came. Friends, neighbors, reporters. They wanted to know how I'd done it, how I'd exposed a man everyone thought untouchable. I told them the truth. I listened to silence until it started telling the truth back. Nexora Labs called next. Patricia Valdez offered me a position in their corporate security division. "We need people who understand deception from the inside," she said. The irony wasn't lost on either of us. I accepted. Work changed me. I spoke at conferences, trained teams to recognize fraud patterns, taught them how manipulation hides behind charm. Once during a seminar, someone asked how it felt to destroy my husband's career. I paused. "I didn't destroy it," I said. "He did. I just stopped the echo." The room went quiet. Then applause. Stand still, remember. One evening, I found a letter waiting at my doorstep. The return address read Federal Detention Center. He'd written pages: anger, regret, blame. At the end, one sentence: "You didn't have to humiliate me." I folded the letter once, neatly, and dropped it into the shredder. The machine whirred, a clean mechanical sigh. That was the sound of closure. Now the house smells of fresh paint and printer ink. My design studio hums with soft jazz and new beginnings. Every invoice I print carries my name alone. Bradley built his empire on lies. I rebuilt mine on truth. He forged deception. I forged proof. If you've ever mistaken silence for weakness, remember, it can also be the sound of rebuilding.